All right, guys, so we're going to look at 8.3 now, solving two-step equations. You should have your ICANN worksheets with you, and the ICANN we're going to be looking at today is solving for a variable in two-step equations using inverse operations. We've already looked at writing two-step equations. Now we're going to talk about solving them. Okay, it's going to make the whole writing part a little bit more understandable, I think. So let's just go ahead and jump right into talking about what we need to talk about for this lesson. Some key words here. I can solve for a variable in a two-step equation using inverse operations. Remember that inverse just means opposite. So let's talk about all of my operations. Operations are things like plus, minus, multiply, and divide. So what are the inverses of these? Remember, inverse means opposite. What's the inverse of plus? Minus. What's the inverse of minus? Plus. What's the inverse of multiply? That would be divide. And what's the inverse of divide? That would be multiply. So let's go ahead and jump right into this lesson. So steps for solving two-step equations. We've talked about simplifying a lot so far in the last chapter and how we simplify expressions. When we're talking about equations, we have to solve. Notice down here in my example, I have a solve for x. So when we simplified, we went through GEMDAS. We make sure we took care of all the grouping symbols and all the exponents, then all the multiplication and division, then we took care of all the addition and subtraction. That's when we're simplifying. But what happens if the question asks me to solve? Well, solve means to use GEMDAS backwards. Remember, we're going to be using inverse operations, so it would make sense that we would go opposite of what we're used to. So let me show you what I mean here. I'm going to start off by undoing addition and subtraction, and then move on to undoing multiplication and division. Grouping symbols and exponents will happen more so next year and as you go into high school. So I have to start off here with this equation that says solve for x by undoing addition and subtraction. Well, do I see addition? I do. I want to undo that addition by doing the inverse operation, saying minus 5 on both sides. Okay. Plus 5 minus 5 is 0. That leaves me with x over 2, or x divided by 2, equals 4 minus 5. That is negative 1. And now all my addition and subtraction is undone. There's nothing left in my equation that's addition or subtraction. So addition and subtraction is complete. Now I have to move on to multiplication and division, undoing multiplication and division. Well, what's left here? I have divide by 2. What's the inverse operation of divide? It's multiply. I'm going to multiply both sides by the denominator. And if you were going to see this written out longhand here, what is 2 times x divided by 2? Well, we have to write both things as fractions, which is going to be a 2 over 1 instead of just 2. Then multiply straight across. 2 times x is 2x. 1 times 2 is 2. And 2 divided by 2 is 1x. So it just leaves me with x here, because these two are just going to cancel out. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. And there we go. X equals negative 2. That's my solution. So go ahead and give this one a shot. Remember to use GEMDAS backwards. So start by undoing addition and subtraction, and then undo multiplication and division. All right, the way we do this one, again, always lollipop, is a good reminder to do things on both sides of the equation. And start with undoing addition and subtraction. So I see subtraction. What's the inverse operation of subtraction? It's addition. Make sure you do it to both sides. Negative 3.75 plus 3.75, they're opposites, so those are actually going to cancel out to make 0. Leaves me with 5b equals 26.25 plus 3.75 is 30. And now that I'm done with all my addition and subtraction, I have to undo multiplication and division. Well, there's multiplication here, so I'm going to undo multiplication with division. 5 divided by 5 is just 1, so 1b equals 30 divided by 5 is 6, so b equals 6. Here's another one for you to try out. Go ahead and give it a shot. Okay, this is how we do this one, guys. Start with that lollipop to help remind me to do things on both sides of the equation. And start by undoing addition and subtraction. Remember, we're solving, so we're working from right to left in GEMDAS. So undo addition In subtraction, we're going to do this addition with subtraction here by subtracting 16 off of both sides. What is 16 minus 16? 0. That just leaves me with 9k plus 0, just 9k on the left-hand side. 88 minus 16 is 72. And now that I'm done with all my addition and subtraction in this equation, I can move on to undoing multiplication and division. There is multiplying going on here. How do you undo multiply? What's the inverse operation of multiply? That's division. So I'm going to divide by the coefficient 9. 9 divided by 9 is 1, or in this case, 1k. 72 divided by 9 is 8. So k equals 8. Okay, let's take a look at a word problem here. You are ordering concert tickets online. Each ticket costs $39.95, and you have to pay a processing fee of $12.75. The total cost was $212.50. Write and solve an equation to find the number of tickets bought. All right, so we have to write and then solve. So write. Well, I've got 3 parts to this word problem. I'm ordering tickets, so I got ticket costs. This is for 1 ticket. If you pay a processing fee, got processing fee. And then I have a total. Total is $212.50. All right, so basically I have 2 types of costs. I have a cost for each ticket. I don't know how many tickets I'm getting, but I know that 1 ticket costs $39.95. And then I have a processing fee, and once I get my total cost of tickets plus my total cost of processing fee, that's going to give me my total cost overall. So really what I have here is my ticket costs plus my ticket costs plus my processing fee, my fee. And if I add those 2 together, I'm going to have my total cost here, total cost. That in green, my total. The ticket costs are $39.95x, and the reason why I'm using x is because I don't know how many tickets I'm buying. The fee is $12.75, and the total is $212.50. All right, sorry guys, had some announcements come on. I had to pause the video. All right, so where we left off, we have a ticket fee, ticket cost plus a fee here, and that total is $212.50. And so there's my equation. Now I just need to solve that equation, just like we did in the last 2 problems, or 3 problems. I'm going to start with a lollipop, and then I'm going to move on to using that GEMDAS. Remember GEMDAS? You can use this the rest of your math life. So we're going to start by undoing addition and subtraction. I see plus 1275, so I'm going to do minus 1275 from both sides. These are going to make 0 right here, so they're just kind of cancel out, and that's going to leave me with 39.95x equals 212.50 minus 12.75 is 199.75. You can check that out for me if you'd like to. All right, now since I don't have any more addition or subtraction to take care of, I'm going to move on to undoing multiplication and division. And since there is some multiplying going on in this equation, I'm going to use the inverse operation, divide. And divide both sides by 39.95. And on the left-hand side, I see that I'm going to cancel these out. They don't really cancel out. 39.95 divided by 39.95 is actually 1. So it's going to leave me with just 1x, or x, equals, and if you plug this right here into your calculator, 199.75 divided by 39.95, you're going to get 5. So you're going to get x equals 5. So going back to the context of the question, what does that mean? Well, we solved for the number of tickets bought, because that's what we didn't know. So we solved for that unknown. So 5, how about 5 tickets in this case? All right, so go ahead and give this word problem a shot. Write it and solve it. All right, so here we go. We're going to start by writing the equation. Writing the equation. So let's write here. Let's see what we got. We got a boating club rental, rents sailboats for $60 for their first hour, and after that they charge $20 per hour. When you return the boat, the total is $140. How long did you rent the boat for? Right, and solve an equation. Well, let's talk about just in words what we're looking at here. We got an initial cost of $60 for the first hour, and then after that they charge $20 per hour. And that's going to total up to $140 for a total cost. So basically, I have an initial fee, or sorry, an initial cost to start renting the boat. I have an initial cost plus my hourly rate, and that's going to equal the total that I pay in the end. There's only two costs here, an initial cost and the hourly cost. What was the initial cost? Let's see. The initial cost is $60. Initial cost is 60 plus what was my hourly rate? That's $20 per hour, but how many hours am I renting this boat for? Well, I don't know, so I'm going to use a variable. That's an unknown, 20h. And then the total is 140. And there's my equation. Did you get that one right? If you didn't, use this equation and now solve for h. All right, so now I need to solve. The way we solve is I'm going to start with a lollipop, like always when I'm solving equations, either one step or two step. And I've been talking to you guys about always putting the variable first. It's always a good idea. So I'm going to use a commutative property here to put the variable first. So I got 20h plus 60 equals 140. GEMDAS, good reminder here. There we go. GEMDAS is a good reminder here. I always like to write it down to help me remind me. And since we're solving, remember that we're working backwards here. So I'm going to start by undoing addition and subtraction first. And there is addition and subtraction here. I got some addition. The inverse of addition is subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 60 off both sides. It's going to leave me with 20h, because 60 minus 60 is a 0. So 20h equals 140 minus 60. That's 80. And now, since my addition and subtraction is done, I move on to undoing multiplication and division. I have multiplication. You undo multiplication with division. So I'm going to divide by the coefficient. Cancels out the coefficients. Makes it 1 anyway. It leaves me with just h equals 80 divided by 20 is 4. So h equals 4. What does that mean in the context? It means I rented for 4 hours. Remember, that's what h stood for. It's hours, the number of hours I actually rent the boat. Okay, so that's it, guys. Hopefully you guys reply in the comments section. Tell me what's something you learned in this video, and also maybe if there's any other questions you have so we can address those in class tomorrow. I'll see you then. Bye.